Pets are blessings in people's lives. Having a dog or a cat as your companion can not only brighten your day, but also bring happiness for many years. However, some people take it a step further and adopt wild animals, often unaware that they may have accidentally adopted monsters, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. On February 16, 2009, Charla Nash, a 55-year-old woman, had her life drastically changed after a brutal attack by Travis, a pet chimpanzee living in Connecticut, USA. Travis had been adopted when he was just 3 days old and was considered a member of the family by his owner, Sandra. He was even famous for appearing in commercials and TV shows. Travis had seen Charla before, and on that day, she went to visit her friend Sandra. When Charla entered the house and tried to get the chimpanzee's attention with one of his favorite toys, he reacted in an unexpected and aggressive way. Earlier that day, Charla had changed her hair color, which confused the animal and triggered his aggression, as he perceived her as a stranger invading his space. Travis launched a terrifyingly violent attack. In desperation, Sandra tried to save her friend, at one point using a butcher knife to try to stop Travis. Unfortunately, it didn't work. The attack continued until Sandra managed to call the police. When authorities arrived, they were met with a horrifying scene. Charla gravely wounded and covered in blood. Travis, in an agitated state, tried to get into a police car, escalating the chaos even more. To protect everyone present, officers opened fire on the chimpanzee, killing him. Charla Nash's condition was critical. She had to undergo a series of complex surgeries to repair the damage caused by the primate. Surgeons faced monumental challenges dealing with her injuries, which included multiple facial bone fractures. Additional complications arose during treatment. A toxicology report later revealed that Travis had ingested Xanax, a medication Sandra used to treat anxiety. That drug may well have contributed to the chimpanzee's aggressive behavior that day. In 2011, Charla underwent a full face transplant, a groundbreaking procedure that lasted over 20 hours at a hospital in Ohio. She survived, but with scars that went far beyond the physical. In 2008, California was the stage for a tragic incident involving Stefan Miller, a respected animal trainer known for his work with grizzly bears. With years of experience in the entertainment industry, Miller had built a strong relationship with Rock, a bear he had trained for movies and commercials for years. The attack happened during the filming of a commercial in a movie studio. While performing a scene that required interaction with Rock, the bear suddenly became aggressive. The exact cause of the bear's reaction remains unclear, but several factors, such as the stress of the filming environment, the presence of cameras, and a crowd of people, may have contributed to his outburst. During the attack, Rock inflicted fatal injuries on Miller. Paramedics were called immediately, but sadly, Miller did not survive. Marius, a 41-year-old South African farmer, had a unique and controversial relationship with a hippopotamus he adopted and raised from a young age. The hippo, named Humphrey, was rescued by Marius when it was still a baby, and over the years they formed a deep bond. Humphrey was like a son to Marius and shared a special emotional connection with him. But this curious and intimate relationship took a tragic turn in 2011. Marius was attacked by Humphrey on his rural property in South Africa. The attack happened on a Saturday evening while Marius was interacting with the animal. Witnesses reported that the hippo, about 6 years old and weighing over a ton, suddenly became aggressive. During the interaction, Marius was bitten repeatedly. After the attack, Marius's body was found submerged in a stream that ran through his 400-acre farm. The autopsy revealed that his body had been mutilated by the hippo's bites, highlighting the brutality of the attack. The tragedy shocked the local community and raised concerns about the dangers of keeping wild animals as pets. This story became iconic not just because of what happened, but because it happened live in front of an international audience. It involved Siegfried and Roy, the famous magician duo from Las Vegas, known for their spectacular performances featuring white tigers and other big cats. But in 2003, something went terribly wrong during one of their shows. During a live performance, Roy Horn, one half of the duo, was brutally attacked by Manticore, one of the white tigers he had trained himself. The show was going smoothly until the tiger, seemingly without warning, turned on Roy. The animal pulled him onto the stage and launched a violent attack. It wasn't just a quick bite. The tiger mauled Roy severely, and the attack lasted for several minutes before security intervened. When Roy was finally rescued, he was in critical condition with massive blood loss and serious injuries. What made this story even more terrifying was that, despite Roy's long-standing relationship with the animal and the fact that Manticore was considered well-trained, the tiger's wild instincts took over. Roy survived, but the incident caused lasting damage to his health and ultimately ended the duo's career performing with big cats. While the attack wasn't an act of cannibalism, it was extremely violent and instinct-driven. The event brought serious attention to the safety and ethics of keeping wild animals in captivity for entertainment. On February 24, 2010, Tilikum, an orca living at SeaWorld Orlando, caused the death of trainer Dawn Brancheau during a live performance. Dawn, a highly experienced trainer, was working with Tilikum during a session when the deadly attack occurred. During the show, the orca, known for unpredictable behavior, suddenly pulled Dawn into the water with immense force. Dawn was near the edge of the pool when Tilikum grabbed her by the leg and dragged her into the deep water, holding her submerged and preventing any immediate rescue. The attack lasted for several minutes, and she was unable to break free. Witnesses reported that Tilikum appeared visibly agitated, alternately dragging and releasing Dawn as she struggled to escape. Despite all rescue efforts, Dawn didn't survive. The autopsy confirmed she died from drowning and multiple traumatic injuries. Tilikum had previously shown signs of aggression and had been involved in other incidents, but none as fatal as this one. Following the attack, SeaWorld faced intense scrutiny regarding the conditions in which Tilikum and other orcas were kept, and the inherent dangers of working with large, wild animals in captivity. The event marked one of the darkest moments in marine park history. The story of Terry Vance Garner is a true and bizarre tragedy that took place in 2012. Terry was a 69-year-old man living in Oregon, United States. He lived on a rural property where he raised a large number of pigs. The fatal event occurred on October 10th, 2012, when Terry mysteriously disappeared from his farm. On the morning of his disappearance, he was last seen feeding his pigs. A few days later, his family noticed his absence and, during their search, found his clothes scattered near the pig pen, but there was no trace of his body. Initially, police and investigators thought he might have wandered off or gotten lost. However, after a more thorough investigation, they began to suspect that Terry had been attacked by his own pigs. Pigs are known for their aggressive nature and voracious appetite, and they can become dangerous, especially if they're hungry or feel threatened. What followed was shocking. Upon a closer inspection of the area, investigators discovered that the pigs had indeed attacked and devoured Terry. They had eaten nearly his entire body, leaving behind only parts of his skull and a few bones. The leading theory is that Terry may have fallen or been knocked down while feeding the pigs and was unable to get away. The animals then likely began attacking, unable to distinguish their owner from prey. In May 2012, in Salem Township, Pennsylvania, a shocking tragedy unfolded. Sandra Piovesan was found dead inside an electrified enclosure where she kept 8 of her 9 wolf-dog hybrids. The cause of death? A brutal attack by the very animals she had raised. According to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Sandra bled to death after being mauled by those she trusted. These wolf dogs, crossbreeds of wolves with Alaskan Malamutes, German Shepherds, and Siberian Huskies, are fascinating creatures, but they require extreme care. They don't usually attack without reason, but they demand discipline, space, and consistent training. At the time, John Davis, vice president of the American Wolfdog Association, stated that the organization maintained breeder records and aimed to improve the breed. However, he admitted he had never heard of Sandra Piovesan before the incident. Davis, who had been working with wolf dogs since the 1980s, emphasized that such attacks are exceedingly rare, even less frequent than with many other breeds, in his own words. In April 2019, in the quiet town of Moihu, Australia, another tragedy struck the region. Paul McDonald, a 47-year-old farmer, had a highly unusual pet, a hybrid deer, the result of crossbreeding a moose and a red deer. He had raised it from a young age and treated it as part of the family. But that morning, everything went terribly wrong. Paul entered the enclosure to feed the animal, just as he did every day. Only this time, the deer became aggressive. It charged at him with its antlers, inflicting fatal injuries. Paul's wife, Mandy, heard heard the screams and rushed to help. She was also attacked, but managed to escape with serious injuries. Emergency services were called, but by the time they arrived, it was too late for Paul. The deer was only subdued when a police officer was forced to shoot it. Experts later explained that during mating season, these animals become extremely territorial and aggressive, even those raised in captivity. It's a tragic story that serves as a powerful warning. No matter how tame they may seem, wild animals still carry unpredictable instincts. Have you ever thought about having a bear as a pet? It sounds like something out of a movie, but for Kellyanne Waltz and her husband, Michael, it was reality. Living in Ross Township, Pennsylvania, the couple didn't just keep dogs or cats on their property. They also had a tiger, a lion, a leopard, and even a 350-pound black bear named Teddy. They had raised the bear since it was a cub. To them, Teddy was family. But everything changed in October 2009. Kelly entered the bear's enclosure as she routinely did to clean it. The usual routine was simple. She would throw food to one side to distract Teddy while cleaning the other. But that day, Teddy wasn't distracted. Whether it was instinct or territorial behavior, the bear suddenly lunged. The attack was fast, violent, and fatal. The worst part, the attack happened in full view of neighborhood children, who watched in horror and ran for help. A neighbor, Scott Castone, arrived as quickly as he could. Finding the bear outside its cage, he made a difficult decision. He shot and killed the animal to prevent further tragedy. After the incident, it was discovered that Michael Waltz did hold licenses to keep exotic animals, but those permits had expired more than a year earlier. The case raised an important question. How far should we go in trying to domesticate the wild? Animals like these never truly lose their instincts, and one misstep can cost a life. This is the true story of Kellyanne Waltz and Teddy, the bear that made headlines around the world. It was a calm morning in Indonesia when a tragic event took place. Desi Tuwo, a 44-year-old woman, was working as the head of a laboratory at a pearl farm in North Sulawesi. What seemed like a normal day quickly turned into a nightmare. Desi was performing a routine task, feeding the farm's pet crocodile, a creature over 4 meters long named Mary. But during the process, something terrible happened. Desi lost her balance and fell into the crocodile's enclosure. Instantly, the animal attacked, using its enormous strength and powerful jaws to drag her into the water. Her colleagues heard the screams, but by the time they arrived, it was already too late. The next day, Desi's body was found with severe injuries from the attack. The crocodile, Mary, was sedated and relocated to a conservation facility, far from human contact. Sadly, this story serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of keeping wild animals in captivity without the necessary precautions. Desi Tuwo is no longer with us, but her story stands as a powerful warning, a call for greater respect toward nature and wild animals. Well, I don't think it's exactly normal to have a snake as a pet. Now imagine that snake is the size of a reticulated python, one of the largest snakes in the world. Sounds terrifying, right? This is the story of Tiny, a snake that became part of an unexpected tragedy. Tiny lived with her owner, Brandon, in New Hampshire. Brandon was a reptile enthusiast who kept several snakes, including the massive Tiny, who was over 13 feet, 4 meters long. But something terrible happened in 2001. That night, what seemed like just another ordinary day turned into a nightmare. Tiny, possibly mistaking Brandon for prey, attacked him. Reticulated pythons are capable of wrapping around their victims and squeezing until they can no longer breathe, and that's exactly what happened to Brandon. By the time the police arrived, they found Tiny inside the home, but it was already too late for Brandon. He had fallen victim to the very snake he had lovingly cared for. This case shocked the world. While pet snakes are rarely aggressive, the hunting instinct of a snake this large should never be underestimated. The story of Tiny and Brandon reminds us how important it is to truly understand the wild nature of the animals we choose to share our homes with. So tell me, would you ever consider having one of these animals as a pet? If the answer is yes, I'm kind of scared of you. And if the answer is no, then tell me, which one freaked you out the most? Drop it in the comments, and hey, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so we can meet again in the next video. See you there.